Welcome to the Holistic Health Show, where the worlds of science and spirituality converge to illuminate a path towards total well-being. Join us as we embark on a journey to bridge the gap between Western medicine and complementary therapies. Welcome back to the Holistic Health Show. I'm very happy that you are joining us. Today we have Leslie Santos on the show. Leslie's a personal trainer. Welcome to the show, Leslie.
Thank you so much for having me.
I'm really excited. Leslie, you're a personal trainer, but more recently you've had a gorgeous daughter, and now you're leaning towards postpartum fitness and helping moms get their body and their health back.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I would love for you to jump right in and tell us all about what you do.
Absolutely. So, like you said, personal trainer. So that's how I started out. I was always into fitness, especially living away from family. It
Yeah.
kept me sane and helped me with mental health and just overall made me happy. So, with a few years of doing that and training women as well, I became pregnant. The
Mm.
whole pregnancy journey, I did not really love because I couldn't train like I did before. I was
Yeah.
so exhausted all the time. I knew a pelvic floor physiotherapist. I worked with her at a clinical athletic center. And she told me, if you cannot get your exercise in, keep doing core work. And so I focused on that core work.
I'm
You know,
interested actually that you mentioned this. So when I think pregnancy, I always thought you couldn't really do a lot of core work when you're pregnant because you've got a baby in there. Can you
so
expand on that a little?
absolutely, we don't really do ab work. But
Okay.
so doing abdominal exercises can be a little bit different than actually just bracing your core. So, of course, when you become pregnant, your abs separate. And
Mm.
so your abs will separate, and they get very, very weak. So, of
Yeah.
course, you can't do flexion in the body, because it's bad for the fetus. It's just really bad on your pelvic floor. And so doing core work, even leaning back and just bracing your core, kind of just doing that little cough,
Oh, yeah.
that's just core bracing. Side planks, just holding, kind of engaging that core and kind of anything you do.
So just getting
Uh,
that activation, I guess, is it?
yes, yeah. Even when
Yeah.
you're standing, just kind of like leaning back a little bit. So that's what
Yeah.
my physiotherapist taught me. I was constantly aware of
Yeah.
engaging my core the whole time. I ended up having an emergency C-section 3 weeks before she was due. Was not prepared for that at all. I understand the process, but what does that mean afterwards, like postpartum for me?
Mhm.
They told me, well, it's a longer recovery. It's of course see a pelvic floor physiotherapist. So my mind was completely flooded. I was not prepared for this at all. They say anywhere between 3 to 8 weeks to even get like ready for exercise, but even
Uh,
just core work again. I didn't start mine until 6 weeks. I had
wow.
to relearn how to use everything down there, even just to
Oh,
pee. I would meditate and really just like breathe. And that's how I began diaphragm breathing and just kind of
okay.
just breathing from the belly, expanding the belly instead of your chest.
Yeah.
And that is just slowly activating the core in and out, in and out. I went to the pelvic floor physiotherapist. Luckily, my abs did not separate too much because
Mm.
of the core engagement. She told me to focus on things like everybody always hear Kegels, Kegels, Kegels.
Yeah.
It's not necessarily Kegels. When somebody describes, oh, okay, hold your pee. It's so much more than that. There are 4 or 5 steps to get to that point. I took my time. I was not actually ready to work out until I was definitely at the 10-week mark. I found it very difficult for the first 2 weeks. I even had my husband had to hold my hand as I sat down on the toilet.
Yeah.
Like it
So what
really took a toll.
I know you said, say it takes 10 weeks for you to work out, and everyone's different. I'm just trying to put a timeline here. So your husband's helping you go to the bathroom and helping you kind of get around for 2 weeks. But week 3, are you walking any length of a distance or are you still doing nothing? And then what does 10-week workout look like? Does that mean, okay, now I'm ready to do weights again or now I'm ready to walk?
Those are great questions. 2 hours after my major abdominal surgery. Anybody within Canada, of my knowledge anyway, they are kind of forced to get up and walk. So I probably walked about 40 meters in an hour. It was very, very
Wow.
slow. I had to do that 3 to 5 times a day. It was very uncomfortable.
Yeah.
If I had my time back, I definitely would have researched C-section stuff.
Mhm.
It just never occurred to me. But I also learned so much about myself. It just really helped empower me, made me really
Yeah.
believe in myself, maybe love my body for what it could do. And so I just feel so much more mentally. And a lot of women struggle with that because you don't get the birth experience that you expected. So for the first 2 weeks, I was pretty much helpless and I was breastfeeding at the time. So I was learning
Yeah.
that as well. So I would bond with her as much as possible and then just rest, rest, rest. So it was
Wow.
straight from in the 2 weeks, the walking, 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 but rest. So walking for
Mhm.
about 20 minutes, resting for an hour, walking 20 minutes, resting for an hour. And it wiped me out. The breastfeeding, I feel, definitely helped because something else that I learned is that your uterus is slowly contracting back down to its size every time that you breastfeed. It releases hormones that helps your body heal. So the organs and stuff are slowly kind of just shifting down. And of course, I had a midwife and she did massaging and it was not
Mm.
the good massage at
No, I
all.
bet. Yeah.
But that really, really helped. And of course, they say that also helps with the weight loss of the baby. But yeah, at that 3 to 5 week mark, still a lot of walking. And
Yeah.
I was stretching, just kind of doing mobility stuff, anything and everything. And
Mm.
then it was probably that 6 to 8 week mark. I would put baby sensory videos from YouTube on because
Yeah.
my daughter seemed very stimulated by that and I would
Yeah.
dance. I was just dancing,
Yeah.
just moving my body. And at this time, I was still kind of seeing what other people were doing, but I didn't even know what questions to ask until I went to see my pelvic floor physiotherapist. I think that was at the 8 week mark. She gave me the go ahead. Yeah, you are ready to weight train. No,
Wow.
I wasn't. And a lot of people feel pressured. I know I felt
Wow.
pressured. I'm like, oh, I'm supposed to be this person. I've worked out for years, lived an active lifestyle. And
Mm.
they'll say to me, oh, you bounced back. No, it's been a year and a half. I
I
finally got
worked hard
abs
for
again,
this.
but I
Yeah.
worked very, very hard. And actually, I had my daughter in April of 2022. The end of November 2022 was when
Mm.
my incision stopped hurting.
Wow. Okay.
So I could not have a normal workout. So when you asked,
Yeah.
say at that 10 week mark, when I started working out, what were my workouts like? My workouts were exactly like my warm ups are right now. Not really a whole lot. I was not really sweating that much at all. And mind you, the pressure was on me even more because when I had my daughter, I only had 4 months until I was supposed to get married. 4 months to
Yeah.
fit into my
Right.
wedding dress. So the
Yeah.
pressure was on. So just a lot of walking, but I kept at that core rehab, the pelvic floor, the breathing. I did it so many times a day. The pelvic floor physiotherapist told me I did not need to do it that much because I did the core work during pregnancy.
Mm.
So I did not have much diastasis recti, which is the ab separation. And B, I took care of myself so well. And
Mm.
the fact that I didn't have the vaginal delivery definitely helped my pelvic floor,
Right.
but I did all of it so I
Yeah.
could learn exactly what to do. Because when I found it so hard, I was really down on myself some days. And I'm like, you know what? There are definitely other people like me. There are other
Yeah.
moms like me going through the exact same stuff. And there needs to be more resources. When I was looking up core rehab, I actually did not find that much. And I'm like, I am going to find a link for this. I'm going to focus my personal training with women. I'm now going to focus it more on the postpartum aspect because I didn't
Mm.
really get too much of it while I was pregnant. And my passion really grew. I just soaked it all up like a sponge after my delivery. So I created social media groups. I wrote programs. I read and read and read so many articles, created this Facebook page, which has been phenomenal. I've had so much support.
I've seen that recently. You've got an incredible following. You're supporting a lot of moms. The comments that you see coming in from people, you're helping a lot of women.
It's so
Yeah.
rewarding. It is so
Yeah.
rewarding. I offer my ear as well to
Mhm.
people who
Yeah.
just need to vent. And there's
Absolutely.
there's a lot of value in that.
Yeah.
Empowerment, right? We really need to
Yeah.
build each other.
Absolutely.
There are so many obstacles and especially so much stress on us. Our appearance and how we
Mm.
should be. It's really easy to talk to somebody who doesn't know you, who doesn't know anything about your life in this journey. And I really just focused on the Mum Pooch and that diastasis recti, the ab separation, just literally helping women lose weight, do that core rehab and pelvic floor work. And with time, that Mum Pooch shrinks.
The mom pooch. Does that happen as a result of ab separation?
Yes,
Okay.
yes. And of course, when you're pregnant, you put on additional weight. And where's the
Yeah.
first place that women put weight on? It's the
Mm.
belly, right?
Yeah.
But it is because the top part of your abdomen can still be fairly tight like it was before, but because when
Mm.
the baby starts to lower, the
Yeah.
lower abs. So then you'll see like a stomach and then that's a
Yeah.
little pooch. And I had one,
Yeah.
I could hold it in my hand and I'm
Wow.
like, what am I going to do with this? This is so foreign to me. And I just kept at it. Like I ate healthy, made sure that I rested. And that is why I created just a helpful guide to that core rehab. I created an ebook. It's an easy guide.
We might share the link if you have a shareable link in the transcript below this video. We can do.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Great.
So I wouldn't mind taking you through a diaphragm breathing session.
Yeah. All right.
If you
Let's
would
do
like
that.
to do that, you can do it
Yep.
while you're sitting up.
I'll sit
And
up a
so
little straighter.
I know, me too. And what I always tell people is I usually just close my eyes. It's kind of like meditation to me. And so I always put one hand on my chest, one hand on my belly. You're going to inhale through your nose and you're going to fill your belly. Don't force the air in, just let it come naturally and you'll feel your belly move, not your chest. If your chest is moving, just reset. Exhale through your mouth. So inhale, fill the belly, exhale through the mouth. And really putting those two hands there really physically makes a difference with my clients. When they don't put their hands there, their chest tends to rise. So you can really focus just on the belly. I usually tell my clients to do 2 to 3 sets of maybe 8 to 10 reps. And although this is very simple, it's kind of like a mind muscle connection. It's the very first thing I tell actually all of my clients to do. I find it very common for my female clients. They tend to always assume or think that they have a weak core. And so I actually do diaphragm breathing when I weightlift. I'll do it during squats, deadlifts, and anything and everything.
It is very relaxing as I'm just sitting here.
It is. So that's the very first thing I do that when I meditate as well. Okay. So now it's going to be kind of like a 2-part little series. So we're going to do the diaphragm breathing and you can kind of watch me as I explain. Then we are going to activate our pelvic floor and our core.
This is like a little mind bending puzzle, is it?
Yeah. And I think I've definitely heard of this description before. And I think I stuck with it because other descriptions, I think I'm just doing a Kegel, right?
Right.
So once again, we can do this laying down or sitting up. So we'll do it sitting up. We'll do that diaphragm breath. And once again, you can close your eyes. And with a few of the things that I'm going to say, it is fine if you giggle because
Okay.
I mostly get a giggle whenever I start
Yeah.
with some
All
of
right.
this vocabulary. But okay, so we're going to hand on the chest, hand on the belly. We're going to practice those diaphragm breaths. Okay, so we'll just do a few and then I'll keep on continuing the instructions. So inhale, breath out of the mouth. So while you are doing that a few times, I'm going to slowly explain what I want you to do next. So while you're sitting there on your next exhale, I want you to shift your hips a little kind of upward or forward. I've actually never explained this while somebody's sitting up, so this will be interesting. So completely relax and fill your belly on the inhale. And then on the exhale, tilt your pelvis, your hips forward. Okay, we're going to keep adding to that exhale. So the inhale will remain the same. And then on the exhale, you are going to picture a jelly bean at the entrance of your vagina. And what you're going to do is you are slowly, very slowly, just going to pull the jelly bean up just a little. When you're all out of breath for the exhale, just release. It's fine. You keep starting over, you'll get further and further. When you're pulling that jelly bean up on the exhale and keep your hips and your pelvis tilted, it may not be a smooth transition all the way up. It might be kind of like an elevator. It stops temporarily, goes again, stops temporarily, goes again. That's normal. Everybody's kind of transition's not always completely smooth. When we pull that jelly bean on the exhale as far up as we can, and we think, okay, I can't pull this jelly bean up any further, we are going to crush it. Just picture just crushing it with your core, your abs, kind of just like an intense Kegel. Okay, so now we're going to crush. Okay, so start all of the steps over again. Inhale, start the belly. Exhale, shift the pelvis and hips. Take the jelly bean, pull, 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 brush the jelly bean. And now you're going to push your belly button into your spine. So it takes a few tries to get this.
It's a lot of work here.
It is a lot of mind muscle work. I just had a client last week. I went over this with her in person. And she said that she felt things that she's never even felt before.
I can definitely see how if you've got ab separation and you're doing all this and you're working your pelvic floor, I mean, I can feel this. Yeah.
Absolutely. And of course, then in your regular weightlifting session, HIIT session, cardio session, whatever, you can still, like, even when I'm watching TV, I lean back a little bit, especially if my daughter's in my arms and I'm engaging that core. I'm constantly engaging the core. Right now, I actually have a lumbar support pillow.
Yeah.
But once again, I can lean back. I've been engaging my core this whole podcast so far. So
Yeah. Wow.
I don't do ab work, right? So a lot of people assume, oh, you must do a lot of ab work. No, I don't. I just engage my core as much as I can. So when you did that, like, were you kind of feeling things that you never really even thought of before?
Yeah. So I do like to work out. I'm no stranger to lifting weights or running and things like that. But I've never applied this during a workout.
Even when I was helping to manage a clinical athletic center, and they would always say, okay, brace your core. Okay. I'm going to flexing, right?
Yeah.
They wouldn't tell me any different. No, no,
Mm-mm.
no. Actually, it's just like okay,
Yeah.
it's just a little bit. You're not flexing. So it's completely different, right? And so I would flex when I was doing stuff, but
Right.
you're actually overexerting it, right? So
Yeah.
plenty to learn. And it's so rewarding and so exciting that I get to help
Definitely. Yeah.
so many different women.
So after we do all that kind of engaging and, picking up the jelly bean, what's next? I guess so first, how long are you meant to be doing that? Or how many times a day?
Yeah, the general guideline, if I'm not consulting with somebody and they haven't done my pre or postnatal health questionnaire, is I
Yep.
tell people, of course, the first thing is listen to your body. If it doesn't feel
Mm.
good, don't do it. I always recommend going to a pelvic floor physiotherapist, and then they can say, oh, give them some beginner course stuff or some intermediate or advanced.
Yeah.
But then the next thing is I actually just started like laying on the mat and doing as many exercises as I could while laying on the mat. Leg lifts is one thing. Just
Okay.
laying on the floor, pushing your back into the mat and slowly lifting one leg up at a time. So I did a lot of that. Heel taps is an easier one. So your feet are already in the air. You're laying on the mat and you're kind of tapping your heel
Yeah.
off the floor. Bird dogs, side planks is another one. So these are all beginner stuff. And like I said, nobody told me this. And then when I consulted with the physiotherapist, I told her, oh, by the way, while I'm doing all of these exercises, I'm doing that pelvic floor and core activation. And she's like, that's genius. Yes, that's only going to increase your recovery, right? So although it did take me that long, I am glad that I didn't give up because there were times where I'm like, oh, this is it for me. This is the end of my
Yeah.
fitness journey. And I kept it up and kept it up because also it's my me time and it's my
Yeah.
breakaway. As much as I love my kid, I need some like mental space.
Yeah.
And so I kept up with it. And, I found my passion and I now there's so much to learn with the postpartum world. And I'm actually currently getting certified in pre and postnatal fitness.
I guess as you're learning with the pre, you've got the post down. And you were saying that you were doing some exercises on your own as well when you were pregnant. So doing these does that reduce the risk of the ab separation, or is that kind of going to happen anyway,
I
or
think,
will it
yeah,
happen
and
less?
I think it's clearly on an individual basis because the biggest thing with the diastasis recti is okay. So your abs they're supposed to flip, and you are
Yeah.
supposed to be patient and
Mm,
wait and not
mm.
work out, even if you
Hurry
feel
up
like
and
you can
wait,
work
they
out.
say.
Right?
Yeah.
Even if you feel like working out. And that's the thing. Like you're just sitting there, you're like, I need to get back to my body.
Yeah.
I'm not doing anything. Like I need to be moving. I need to be doing this and this. But actually just like that flexion, like let's just say
Mm,
nothing hurt me. And I started doing crunches and
well,
sit-ups. And I'm constantly like flexing my body. The lower part of your abdomen, your transverse abdominis, that's where all the weak stuff is. And now it's
yeah.
still separated and you're tightening it, but it's still
Mm,
separated. So then it's got to do this and it's got to further. So it'll be like tight, but not together. The
yeah.
muscle, the
Okay.
tissue needs to heal together and only time will do that. So for instance, a dear friend of mine, very big into CrossFit, she competed 3 months postpartum.
Wow.
And that was when I learned about diastasis recti. And she didn't even know the name of it. She's like, oh, yeah, that's my ab split. I'm like, what do you mean that's your ab split? That is
Yeah.
significant. So, technically, a significant ab separation, we measure it by finger width. Anything past 2 finger widths is severe
Right.
after your healing time. So, I probably had this or this or this, like when I first had my kid, but
Yeah.
after that, like 8 weeks, it should be down to less than 2. Hers were probably that far, and
While
you could
competing?
like while competing.
Wow. Wow.
Yes, and she's like, "Yeah, it's a little uncomfortable, but you just got to give it your all." She was so passionate about it, you know. And did it pose any real health risk to her? No, no, it didn't. She was able to compete and stuff. She placed. She enjoyed herself. But I think the real struggle with women when they say, "Oh, well, this is me now." First of
Mm,
all, if that's you now, that is okay. My main focus is to make people feel good in their own skin,
yeah.
whether that be super fit or whether they just want to have more energy, whether they just want to get rid of a little Mum Pooch. But the thing is, my guide, that the ebook that I created, if you just followed the exercises, it's a small difference.
Yeah.
But like you have to, wow, just live an active lifestyle, whether that be walking, running, cycling, swimming, whatever. And then it's the eating healthy part.
Mm,
I had to work out and eat in a way that I never had to before because my belly was really holding on to that extra fat.
yeah.
And so it's a complete lifestyle change. It is a behavior change. And women get really hard on themselves. Oh, I'm not seeing progress. It's been 3 months. I'm not seeing anything. It could take maybe 10, 11 months and I'll never have the body that I had before, and I don't want it.
Yeah.
I feel way mentally stronger. I know what my body's capable of, and I housed a human being. So the empowerment and the confidence as women, it's a very, very big struggle because they're like, oh, this is me now, and I can't do anything, and I don't have time, and I'm always tired, and blah, blah, blah. It's hard. It is very
Mm,
hard. Do I have the time every day to work out? No, I don't. So sometimes I will get up at 6 a.m. when I probably went to bed at midnight and I'm so tired, but that's the only time that I am going to get to work out. And
yeah.
so I definitely really take those things seriously. And so I just want to help as many people as I can. I to try to be as positive and just empower women as best as I can and just keep on learning and just making people feel stronger and, better about themselves and more confident.
Well, it sounds like you're doing that. It sounds like you're doing a great job at it. I wanted to ask, what do you say to women who just really don't have the time or are suffering from postpartum depression? And are finding it hard to get the motivation to get on the mat or, into the gym. How do
Yeah.
you navigate that?
So the very first thing, of course, that I do is because I'm not a professional with the postpartum depression, is to talk to somebody. And
Like,
I've had a lot of people reach out to me with postpartum depression.
it's very common.
It is very, and there's people that I know well that had it that I didn't even realize did, right? It was
Mm,
kind of one of those unspoken things, but people are starting to speak out about it more. But when there are some people that don't feel comfortable going to a therapist, I tell them that I'm there for them. I can listen and try to help in any way that I can. But of course, there's hope at the end
mm,
of the tunnel. But for people who don't have time and maybe physically, you could tell them, I'm going to give you $1 million if you do this
mhm,
program. And they just can't. Little things like, I'm going to focus on eating less sugar this week. At the end of the week, and I ask people, just kind of track. There is no judgment at all. Track, first of all, for 1 week, track how much artificial sugar you're consuming.
mm,
And
yeah,
just little things like that. How much water are you drinking? They say it's roughly around half your body weight in ounces is what you're supposed to consume. Other people say 2.7 liters, 3 liters, a gallon, whatever. But for me, it's just try to drink as much water to make yourself feel hydrated. So that's
mm,
another habit. So for my coaching clients, I'll set little daily habits for them. So watch your sugar for 1 week and let's just work on that. And maybe drink some water. The
yeah,
next week is, okay, how was your sleep? And I tell them, hey, this is going to be a 6 to 8 week process to
yeah.
even get you into the habit of working out. Right. So then I'll start them with walking. Now I want you to track whatever it is you're doing, whether it be time or distance, every single time you go out, even if it's 1 minute longer, 10 meters more. I want you to beat that record every single time.
I guess it's that golden rule. You only have to be 1% better every day.
Exactly. And it
Just a
took me
little bit more.
years. It took
Mm,
me years to be disciplined the way I am. And, I don't want to be the type of person either that tracks all of what they do. So once somebody gets into the habit of, yeah, you know what? Okay, this is now what I'm consuming on a daily basis. And, I'm feeling a lot better. And I definitely think I'm not
mhm,
eating as much artificial sugar. They're not tracking in grams, but I don't like to do that. It's great
yeah.
for people who are fitness enthusiasts and they have a particular goal that they're working towards. But I really do believe in intuitive eating, just kind of like natural mindset. I really just like to leave it in the client's hands. What is it
Yeah.
that you want? And we'll work around it. It's their journey. They're in control the whole time. And all I can do is guide them with the goals that they have given me.
It's great
Well,
to be able to take your own experience and just share it with so many people.
that's
I
what it
hope
is.
that anybody listening who is kind of feeling down on themselves or want to get rid of a mom pooch, get in touch with Leslie and see how she can help.
It was a pleasure being here. If you are listening right now and you were feeling down about yourself and stuff, it is possible. Baby steps. Thank you
Oh,
for having me.
thank you, everyone, for listening, and we'll see you again next time. Thanks, Leslie. Thanks for joining me on the Holistic Health Show. If you enjoyed the episode, subscribe now and get ready to embark on an incredible journey toward holistic wellness. Until next time, be well and stay holistic.